Join our COVID-19 online panel tonight as we explore whether the COVID-19 public inquiry will lead to any form of accountability or justice for the vast collateral damage that has been inflicted by the government policies during the COVID-19 chapter. Most of us have already recognized that it's highly unlikely that the COVID-19 public inquiry will lead to any form of accountability. So tonight's online panel is not just about dissecting what we know so far about the public inquiry, but it's about exploring what can be done to ensure proper scrutiny is achieved so that we don't go through what we've just been through over the last 2 years. It's to ensure that history does not repeat itself. So tonight we're joined by a number of leading experts who have put their necks on the line to really scrutinize and challenge every aspect of the data, the government decision-making, the legalities of policies, and of course, the scientific evidence. We can anticipate already, as I've spoken about here on the podcast over the last few weeks, I've done a number of pieces of content on this now, but we can anticipate the inquiry will be a long, drawn-out, and laborious process that may indeed raise some issues relating to decision-making, over-reliance on experts and modeling, lack of consideration for the vulnerable and minority groups. Undoubtedly, you would think, to identify the corrupt government procurement processes leading to crony contracts. But quite frankly, this is likely how far the inquiry will go in terms of reaching a point of justice and accountability for the failed policies that we've seen. We know that a growing body of evidence shows that lockdowns and other interventions not only failed to influence the course of the pandemic, but likely prolonged it and created a trail of devastating short and long-term collateral harm that we're now experiencing on a daily basis and far exceeds the actual and potential harms caused by COVID-19. We've seen hospital waiting lists reach record highs in the millions. We've seen over 3 million people in a backlog for cancer screening. We've seen national debts at record highs, over 2 trillion for the first time. We've seen 112 billion days plus of education lost around the world. We've seen over 150 million people plunged into extreme poverty around the world as a result of these policies. Meanwhile, organizations like the World Health Organization are seeking to lock in policies such as digital vaccine passports and lockdowns in preparation for the next pandemic without any real scrutiny or evaluation of the effectiveness of any of these policies that we've seen over the last couple of years around the world. To me, this is nothing short of an attempt to galvanize control and power under the guise of public health and to maximize the profits of any future civil emergency. We know that the COVID chapter was a hugely profitable period for many industries, including big pharma, big tech. And there is clearly a now very large demand side incentive to build upon these policy initiatives that offer such a radical opportunity to improve the bottom line. So the big question becomes, what can we do? Well, it's a big question with no simple answer, unfortunately. However, there are people like our panelists this evening around the world who have been challenging every aspect of what's happened. They have been scrutinizing and trying to make sense of what's been going on. Therefore, what we must very, very much do at the simplest level is to continue to amplify these voices to ensure that we raise the volume on the issues that we've identified over the past 2 years. Now, during this time on the Pandemic Podcast, which we've revived the brand in order to follow along with this public inquiry, we've played a pivotal role. We were one of the first voices out there to really start criticizing and scrutinizing and pulling apart what was going on in a credible way. We created in excess of 500 pieces of content exploring these key issues over this time. And it's more vital than ever now that we double down on exposing these critical issues once again to ensure that at the very least, we never have to endure such policies again, and at best begin to reverse the damage and achieve some form of accountability and justice. Therefore, it's critical that we get the word out about events like the one we're hosting tonight with our special guests. This enables us to invite more and more people into the conversation, so more and more people become aware of the issues that we have studied and scrutinized over the last couple of years, and to ensure that independent media brands like our own can continue this type of work. So you're invited to join our special panel event taking place tonight, 8 p.m. Our special guests include Professor David Patton, who's the Chair of Industrial Economics at the Nottingham University Business School, Professor Paul Freuters, who's the Visiting Emeritus Professor at the London School of Economics. We're also joined by Dr. Claire Craig, who's a diagnostic pathologist and clinical researcher and a member of HEART. We're joined by Dr. Elizabeth Evans, who's a retired medical doctor and founder of the UK Medical Freedom Alliance. And finally, we're joined by Barrister Francis Hoare, who's an award-winning barrister specializing in public constitutional and electoral law. And he's been pivotal within the majority of the legal cases that have taken place over the last couple of years, including the Dolan case that took place in 2020. Now, these brave voices need your support, as do we as an independent media brand. At a time when critical thinking and grassroots action is more important than ever, we need each and every one of us to play our own part in leading change. And everything we do at the front end is free to join, our content. However, if everyone who watches our content, joins our community, helps to support our work by either becoming a supporter or purchasing tickets to one of our events, then we can continue to produce rational, sense-making content and deliver impactful campaigns that can put the power back in the hands of the people so that we can ensure real change. So if you'd like to join our online panel tonight, it's likely to be a 90-minute to 2-hour discussion with our guest experts. We'll be dissecting what we know about the inquiry so far, but more importantly, exploring some of the critical issues that we need to ensure that are raised and exploring how we can ensure that proper scrutiny is held over the next period of time as the inquiry commences. So you can join our event by heading over to weareelevate.org/public inquiry. There's two ways that you can join us. You can either join our supporter program for £10 a month, which gives you access to all of our online events every single month, plus our entire supporter-only back catalogue of previous events, which we've recorded, all our censored content and all our exclusive supporter-only material that we've been able to put together over the last couple of years. Or you can purchase a standalone ticket to join us tonight for £10 as well. The details about how to join are on the website for tonight's event. And again, you can go to weareelevate.org/public inquiry to find out more about the event, to find out more about the speakers, and to grab your tickets for tonight's session. And as I said, we need to be doing these type of things not only to raise awareness, but to support those voices who are continuing the fight, because so many have gone back on with their lives and started to focus on what's most important to them. And you can understand that. But for many of us, we're still here and we're still looking at how accountability and justice can be found. But off the back of that, how we can actually begin to create real change. So this is your invitation to join us this evening, 8 p.m. UK time, with our special guests. You'll have the opportunity to ask your questions and join the discussion, share your views. And we'll be announcing a special campaign at the end of tonight's session where we'll invite you to have your voices heard as part of the COVID-19 inquiry, not only within the official inquiry, but within the work that we're doing here on the Pandemic Podcast. So please do come and see us at weareelevate.org/public inquiry. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you tonight.